Well guys, I wish I could have started this year with something a little less grim, but as I'm sure you guys have heard by now, Australia has been burning for quite some time now. I think the fires initially popped up in sort of October, November, and we're at the end of January and they're still going. It's just insane. The amount of land that has burnt is just incomprehensible. Something like 24 million acres have been burnt, over 2,000 homes, and I think over 30 lives have been lost, which is so sad. Even yesterday we had a few American firefighters who came out to give us a hand. Their plane crashed just outside of Cooma as they were fighting the fires, and it's just absolutely heartbreaking to think these guys came over here to give us a hand and now they're going to go home in a box. It's so sad. Oh, I feel for those families so much. Absolutely heartbreaking. Yeah, our fireys have been doing it very tough for the last couple of months. They're doing a very good job, but it's such a tough job. There's just so much fire front to cover. These fires are huge, massive. You just have to look at a map of the East Coast and pretty much all the bush along the East Coast has been burnt, all the way from top of New South Wales all the way to Victoria, up in the snowy high country. Even where I filmed my last video, where I was trout fishing, even up there, I think even that spot burnt away. So there's just nowhere left. Yeah, like every spot that I've been to in the last couple of years has been burnt away. So I don't know what the next few years are going to be like in terms of camping videos. It's going to be a lot of camping in the ashes, I think, but it will be interesting to watch the bush rejuvenate, I think. Like the Australian bush has evolved to tolerate fire. It actually needs fire. Like a lot of our plants require fire to help it spread its seeds. So like the Banksias and a lot of eucalypts and stuff, their seeds actually don't get released from their pods until fire goes through the area and releases the seeds. So a lot of our plants have actually evolved with fires. They actually need it, but just not like this. Like not all of the bush is meant to be burnt at once. You need to do it in the mosaic patchwork. So you need to burn one section of the bush so it gives time for the animals to escape and go to another section, and then you burn, in a couple of years you burn that section, and they can go back to the other previous section, and that way it's a sustainable ecosystem. But the way we've kind of, I don't know, have managed this land in recent years, I don't think it's the right way. I think it's something we really need to take a look at. Like the indigenous people have been managing the land for tens of thousands of years, 100,000 years in some cases. So, and they've been doing it, I think, the right way. We really need to take a look at the way they've been doing it over the last 100,000 years, and try and take a leaf out of their book, because they never let the fires get to this much destruction. They would always have these cool burns, which basically they burnt the right time of year, so during the winter, and they never let the fires get over a metre high, because they'd burn regularly, sort of every 2 or 3 years or so, and you never had the build up of debris. So once the fire did go through the area, it never got out of control. So there's some really interesting books called Dark Emu by Bruce Pascoe, and The Biggest Estate on Earth by Bill Gammage. Really interesting, fascinating books that talk a lot about land management and how Aborigines worked with the land. I'd recommend anyone trying to read those, because it really gives you a different perspective on how we manage the land and how they managed it. And I think there's a lot to learn. Like a lot of our wilderness areas, we just let to kind of do its own thing. We very rarely backburn, hazard reduction burn in wilderness areas. But if you look at indigenous times, there was really no wilderness areas. All land was managed properly. So I think it's something we need to take a look at. And I'm like the biggest culprit. I've kind of always thought we should just let the bush do its own thing and not interfere with it too much. But humans have been interfering with the Australian landscape for, like I said, up to 100,000 years. So we are as much part of the landscape as it is part of us. So I think we really need to take a look at the way we manage it, and we can definitely do better. I don't think we're doing the right thing, because the bush is not meant to burn like this. This is devastating. And even just the climate as well, that's a whole different topic which I don't want to get into, because I'm sure I'm going to have a lot of people disagreeing with me, but you just have to look at the science. And last year was the hottest year on record in Australia. We're in one of the worst droughts at the moment. A lot of towns in the rural towns in the outback and stuff, they're running out of water. So I don't know, seems like the earth is definitely heating up, and with these dry conditions it's creating more severe bushfires. So we really need to do something about it. We can't let it continue like this, because we're not going to have a very healthy ecosystem. Yeah, where I'm at the moment is a place called Lake Conjola, which is on the south coast, and it's a place I hold pretty dear to my heart. My family have had a a cabin here, holiday cabin, for about 15 years. So I've grown up sort of spending my summers here out on the lake and surfing on the beaches and stuff and wandering through the bush, and it's a place that I really love. But on New Year's Eve, when a lot of the south coast got really affected by fires, Lake Conjola got absolutely hammered. One of the worst affected places on the south coast. They lost, I think, over 100 homes or something like that. And just driving through the town yesterday, it's absolutely heartbreaking. So many homes are just flattened. Pretty much half the suburb has been affected by it. So it's really, really sad. And to see the bush like this as well, pretty heartbreaking. But it'll come back eventually. Just gotta give it time. But yeah, where I was on when the fire ripped through here, I was actually a little bit further south at a place called Rosedale, which is down near Bateman's Bay. And yeah, me and a few mates are down there staying in a holiday house, and we got a message about 8 o'clock in the morning telling us to evacuate and go seek shelter on the beach. So we did that. We packed up our things and went down to Tomican Beach. And by about 10 o'clock, these strong westerly winds were pushing the fire right towards us, and it got really close, within sort of a kilometre of where we were, just right up on the main road of Tomican. The fire went right up to that, and the sky just went pitch black with smoke. Like, it was so dark, and then the sky was just pretty much on fire as well. These big fireballs were just igniting, because obviously so much heat and gas is being released by the trees. They need oxygen before they can ignite, so they ignite in the middle of the sky. So it's honestly like, it felt like Armageddon. It was insane. And then right next to us, which is Mossy Point, because it was so windy, the fire was picking up burnt leaves and then carrying them a kilometre or two in front of the main fire front and starting spot fires. So Mossy Point went up, and we were right across from that, and you could just hear explosions from the gas bottles blowing up from people's houses, and then you had the helicopters going around getting water from the lake and from the river, and it honestly felt like a bit of a war zone. It was insane. So we kind of got stranded there because the street that we were staying in, about 4 houses burnt down around us, so we couldn't really go back to our holiday house. So we just basically had to go camp on the side of the road for 3 days because the roads were closed. There's no power, and because there was no power, there was no fuel. And it's the busiest time of year, like 100,000 people descend on the south coast to enjoy their summer, and everyone's just stranded because all the roads are closed. It's absolute chaos. But one thing I was very, very impressed by was just the generosity of like the local people. Like the people in Tomican, because we were pretty much camping in the car park for a couple of days. The people in Tomican opened up their houses and said, if you want to come and sleep inside, we've got beds for you. They brought us out food, because we didn't really have any food because we had to leave everything back at the house. So they brought us food, they brought us water, and it was just, the generosity was just incredible. It really restores your faith in humanity after situations like that, and it's really nice to see that sort of true Aussie spirit that people talk about in disasters, where everyone sort of really comes together and helps each other out. And it was a really beautiful thing to see. So yeah, there's one good thing that came out of the disasters. Yeah, just to think of the amount of animals that have been affected by these fires. Like, they estimate over 500 million animals, which I can definitely understand, because if you look at the amount of terrain that these fires have covered, it is huge. So many animals, from birds, from goannas, from wallabies, from lizards, from countless amount of animals. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they recover over the next couple of years. Like, there's barely anything for them to eat. The ones that did survive, like, everything is just ash and dead leaves. So I bought out some sweet potatoes, some carrots, and I just chopped them up and just scattered them out in the bush. So it's nothing huge, but every little bit helps until they can get back on their feet. So absolutely devastating. There's no other word to describe it. Anyway, hopefully I've given you guys a little glimpse into what we've been dealing with down here. And yeah, like I said, it's going to be a very interesting year, like next year or two, camping amongst all this. Just be prepared for a fair few videos of me camping amongst the ashes, but I think it's going to be really interesting to see the bush rejuvenate over that time, and I think it's going to be really nice to record all that, because obviously I had all the footage prior to it burning. Now I'm going to be able to record it rejuvenating, so I think that'll be really something worthwhile to document. So yeah, hope you guys stick around for those adventures over the next year or two. It's going to be very interesting. So anyway, hopefully my next video is going to be a little less grim than this one, but yeah, I hope you guys got a nice little insight into what we've been dealing with. So anyway, till next time, guys. Hooroo.